The hum of the ventilation system is a constant, suffocating drone. A cold draft, unnatural in this sealed-off space, snakes around Ethan's ankles. He stops, cleaning cart squeaking, flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive gloom. From down the endless, silent corridor, a faint whisper echoes. Not a word, but a sound like dry leaves skittering across a tombstone. It calls his name again. Who just spoke from nothing? Welcome, dear listeners, to Room Beneath, where we uncover the chilling truths lurking just out of sight. Before we begin, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories. Tonight, we delve into a tale of an unseen world, a place where the lines between science and nightmare blur. My name is Ethan Vance, and my life used to be normal. Now, it's a blur of forgotten days and endless nights spent scrubbing the floors of a place that doesn't exist on any map. No signs, no company name, just a fat paycheck and a strict, no questions asked policy. At first, I figured it was some top-secret government project, but the deeper I went, the less government it felt. The corridors here aren't static, they twist and contort. Sometimes a door appears where none was before. Sometimes an entire section vanishes. It's like the building itself is breathing, shifting its bones in the dark. I've heard things too, whispers that slither out from behind concrete walls, sometimes calling my name, sometimes my mother's, my father's, names I haven't spoken in years. And there are rooms too, ones that shouldn't exist. One time, I opened a utility closet and saw a perfect recreation of my childhood bedroom, complete with the faded posters and the worn teddy bear. It vanished the next night. But the most unsettling part? The subjects they keep here, the things in the containment units. They don't have faces, not in any way I understand, but they know me. They know about my past, the mistakes I've made, the things I buried deep. They know the nightmares that haunt my sleep, the ones I haven't even told my closest friends. How? How can these entities know such intimate details about me? My job is just to clean, wipe up the strange viscous fluids, empty the biohazard bins, occasionally mop a bloodstain that mysteriously appears and disappears. But every night, as I push my cart down these endless shifting passages, I feel the building itself trying to communicate, trying to warn me. Lately, though, it's more than just warnings. A colder, more terrifying thought has taken root. The bloodstains, the strange biological waste, the containment breaches that are always minor incidents. I'm starting to believe this company isn't just researching these horrifying creatures they've found. No, it's far worse. They're trying to create them. And tonight, as I approached Section Gamma, a part of the facility always under lockdown, the door was slightly ajar. A low, guttural thrum vibrated through the floor, and a new, metallic scent, unlike anything I've encountered, wafted out. What fresh nightmare was waiting inside, and why was the door open for me? The metallic scent from Section Gamma was unlike anything I'd ever encountered. A chilling blend of ozone and something organic, burnt and sickly sweet. My heavy-duty flashlight cut through the oppressive darkness, illuminating a cavernous space filled with strange, pulsating machinery I'd never seen before. Wires snaked across the floor like alien veins, leading to a central, massive containment unit. Not glass, but a dark, almost obsidian material. The low thrumming vibrated not just the floor, but my very bones. And then I saw it. A fresh, thick smear of viscous, iridescent liquid on the console next to the unit, still glistening. It looked like the fluid I usually cleaned, but amplified, more alive. A sudden deafening clang echoed through the cavern, making me jump, my flashlight beam wildly swinging. The door to Section Gamma, the one I had just entered, slammed shut with a hydraulic hiss, sealing me inside. Panic, cold and sharp, seized me. The thrumming intensified, accompanied by new whispers, no longer faint, but pressing against my skull. They weren't just names now, they were fragmented commands, distorted pleas, and raw fear, all intermingled with a sickening, wet sound, as if something gargantuan was struggling just beyond the obsidian wall. I hammered on the door, but it was useless. The building had me. Desperate, I turned from the sealed door, my gaze sweeping the cavern. That's when I saw it. A series of smaller, individual containment cells lining the far wall, previously obscured by shadows. Each one was empty, but one glowed with a faint, sickly green light. As I approached, the whispers converged into a single, chilling thought, a voice in my head that was undeniably mine, yet alien. Run. Inside the green-lit cell, etched into the wall as if by acid, was a symbol, jagged, arcane, and horrifyingly familiar. I had seen it before, scrawled on the back of a forgotten blueprint deep in my father's old workshop, a memory I had buried for decades. The symbol, my father's workshop. He used to be a theoretical physicist, obsessed with fringe science, before he vanished. A cold dread seeped into my bones, far worse than any fear I'd felt tonight. This wasn't just a research facility. It was a continuation, or perhaps the origin, of his forbidden work. The creatures, the shifting corridors, the knowledge of my past. It wasn't random. It was connected. And then, the obsidian containment unit in the center of the room began to pulse violently, a deep, resonant hum that rattled my teeth. A crack, thin as a spiderweb, appeared on its surface, spreading rapidly. The whispers in my head turned to a cacophony of shrieks, and a single, enormous, glowing yellow eye slowly blinked open within the darkness of the cracking unit, fixing its gaze directly on me. The yellow eye, vast and ancient, stared into me, not with malice, but with a horrifying, profound understanding. As the crack in the obsidian unit spiderwebbed further, the thrumming escalated into a deafening roar, shaking the very foundations of the cavern. Chunks of concrete rained down, and the air grew thick with a metallic tang mixed with something putrid like an open wound. The whispers in my head were no longer fragmented. They were a chorus, 1,000 anguished voices screaming my name, pleading with me, warning me. I stumbled backward, the industrial cleaning cart forgotten, my heavy-duty flashlight beam dancing wildly, momentarily blinding me as dust filled the air. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the impending rupture. This wasn't just a creature, it was a prison, and something far older was about to be unleashed. The whispers coalesced, forming a single agonizing thought in my mind. He knew. My father. The symbol, the forbidden research, the entities themselves, it all clicked into place with a horrifying clarity. The creature inside the obsidian unit let out a guttural shriek as the crack reached its zenith, a sound that tore through reality itself. I pressed myself against a cold, damp wall, desperately trying to silence the cacophony in my head, to make sense of the fragmented memories of my father, his hushed phone calls, the late nights in his workshop. He hadn't just vanished. He was intricately woven into this nightmare, a puppet master, or perhaps another victim. A tendril, slick and black, snaked through the widening fissure in the containment unit, feeling the air, tasting the fear. Driven by a morbid need for answers and the terrifying knowledge that I was already trapped, I ignored the emerging terror and scanned the cavern, my flashlight beam frantically searching for anything my father might have left behind. My gaze fell upon a dusty, corroded workbench tucked away in a shadowed alcove, almost hidden by a stack of forgotten crates. On it, amongst rusted tools and discarded schematics, was a leather-bound journal, its cover etched with the same arcane symbol I'd seen in the containment cell and remembered from my father's workshop. My hands trembled as I reached for it, the whispers in my head now a low, conspiratorial murmur, urging me on, promising revelation. The tendril from the main unit had retreated slightly, as if waiting for me to uncover the truth. I tore open the journal, the brittle pages crumbling slightly under my frantic grip. The cramped handwriting was unmistakably my father's. The first few entries were technical, filled with theoretical equations and diagrams of impossible machines. But then the tone shifted. He wrote of dimensional incursions, resonant frequencies, and the entities that speak in dreams. He detailed experiments, failures, and terrifying successes. And then I found it. A detailed drawing of the obsidian containment unit, labeled The Gateway, with an entry beneath it describing how he had engineered its construction, how he had sought to harness the power of the Old Ones. But what truly made my blood run cold was the final entry, scribbled in a shaky hand, dated the day he vanished. They know me. They know my son. He is the key. The facility will guide him. He must finish what I started. As I read, a powerful tremor shook the cavern, and the main obsidian unit, now fully fractured, exploded outwards with a horrifying shriek, engulfing the cavern in a blinding yellow light. The blinding yellow light faded, replaced by a scene of utter devastation. Where the obsidian unit once stood, a swirling vortex of shadows and raw cosmic energy now churned, tendrils of darkness lashing out, tearing at the cavern walls. Glimpses of unimaginable cosmic horrors flickered within the void. I was thrown across the room, my head hitting something hard. Disoriented, I tasted blood, but the fear that gripped me was a cold, sober clarity. My father hadn't just opened a gateway, he had become a part of it, and now I was next. The whispers were no longer in my head, but echoing from the vortex itself, calling to me, promising me knowledge and union. The vortex expanded, consuming the cavern. The very air grew cold, thick with an unseen, ancient presence. I staggered to my feet, the leather-bound journal still clutched in my hand, a futile shield against the encroaching void. The building itself seemed to writhe in agony around me. Walls bled a viscous black fluid, and the ground cracked open to reveal abyssal depths. I could hear my father's voice, not from the journal, but from the vortex, a distorted echo. "You are the key, Ethan, the final catalyst." The whispers intensified, intertwining with my own deepest fears, promising the sweet release of oblivion if I just surrendered. I had to find a way out, but every path seemed to lead deeper into the nightmare. Driven by a primal urge to survive, I spotted a narrow, barely visible ventilation shaft high above, one that looked impossibly small but might offer a desperate escape. The vortex pulsed, sending shockwaves through the collapsing facility, but the shaft seemed untouched, almost a deliberate path. As I clambered towards it, using crumbling machinery as makeshift steps, the whispers solidified into a single, horrifying truth directly from the vortex. Your father didn't just open a door, Ethan. He became the door. And now you must too. Your blood, his legacy, will merge the worlds. The realization slammed into me, a cold, crushing weight. I wasn't meant to finish his father's work. I was meant to become it. With a final desperate surge of adrenaline, I pulled myself into the ventilation shaft. It was cramped, metamic, and utterly dark, save for the faint glow filtering from the chaos below. I crawled forward, ignoring the scrapes and the suffocating dust, the whispers echoing in my ears, now a chorus of triumphant, alien voices promising eternal communion. Suddenly, the shaft ended abruptly, opening into a vertical drop, into nothing but the same swirling void I had just escaped, but far, far deeper. Below, amidst the chaos of cosmic energy, a colossal, multi-limbed creature, vaguely humanoid but impossibly vast and shifting, rose into view, its immense yellow eye fixing on me. It reached a massive, skeletal hand towards me, its palm glowing with an ominous yellow light, beckoning me into the abyss. For more terrifying tales like this video, subscribe to Room Beneath and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next stories.